Hello, Year 8. So today I'm going to be walking you through a tutorial on how to make your little wooden stool in SketchUp. So this is what we're going to be making today. Now first of all, we're going to open SketchUp. It should look like that. And then you are going to click something as long as it is in millimeters. I like using this one because it is a nice white plain background, but you can use one of the architectural ones or the plain one as well. So we've got this little guy here, and he's pretty good for helping us realize scale. Now what I'm going to get you to do first is have a little look at all these tools up here. So we've got rectangle, we've got the pencil, we've got the eraser, and the cursor, which is what I'm on now. Okay. So first of all, we're going to make the top of the stool, and now you can see that we've got this blue line here, a green line, and a red line. So these are all the axes, because remember we're modeling in 3 dimensions. So it can go left to right, up and down, or side to side. So what I'm going to do first is going to get you to click on this little symbol here, which means we're going to be drawing a rectangle. You can also just hit the R button on your keyboard and that will bring it up as well. So we're going to click and drag so you can see that it maps out how big it is going to be. And you can also see down here where it says dimensions, and what we're going to do is, instead of guessing or just trying to figure it out, we're going to type in the dimensions. So the dimensions for your top are going to be 220 millimeters, because remember everything we do in tech is in millimeters. Then you're going to hit a comma and you're going to type the length, which is 340 millimeters, and then you're going to hit enter. So you can see that that is now 220 millimeters by 340 millimeters. Now obviously your stool isn't going to be pieces of completely flat timber. Everything's going to have a depth. So for that we're going to go to this tool here right next to the rectangle, which is called push pull tool. This is a very useful little tool. So what we're going to do is we're going to zoom in a little bit here. You can zoom in by scrolling on your mouse, and you can see that when I put my cursor over it, it gets all dotty blue, and that means that that face is going to be selected. So we just click on that and we pull it up again. And remember, again, instead of, you can go up or down, but remember, so we're going to, you can see that down here the dimensions are changing as I move my mouse, but we want it to be 19 mils thick, which is the thickness of all the timber you're going to be using. So you just type in 19, click enter, and there it is. There's the top of your stool. Now I just hit spacebar, which returns you back to cursor. So you can click on this, you can click on the sides, so you can see if I click on the line, it highlights the line. I'm going to change the line, but if I click on the face, then it's going to move that stuff. But what we want to do now is we want to make this a group so that it's its own little piece and it doesn't get interfered by. So we're going to select everything here. I'm just clicking and dragging. So all the faces are selected. And then you can right click and then press make group. So that is now one solid piece and it won't be interfered with all the other pieces that we're going to make. If you need to edit this, you can absolutely go back in. You can just double click and then you can just go in and change this, whatever. The dimensions, width and thicknesses. That's all good. So we've clicked out of that. We've got our group, which is the top. Now, if you want to have a little bit of a look around, you can click the hand button and that you can drag around like that. Or if you want to click orbit, which is this arrow kind of thing, and if you click, you can twist it around and see the top and see the bottom, like that. I'm just going to scroll out for a second and go back to cursor, and now I'm going to make the legs of the stool. So we're going to get our rectangle again, and we'll see on this correct plane, and we're going to type in 190, comma 190. Enter, and we'll go to orbit, and we can have a look from the top, and that's how big the leg's going to be. Now this is going to be changed a little bit, so what I'm going to get you to do is, before we make it the 19mm thickness, we're going to change it so that it's right. So I'm just orbiting so I can have a look at it front on. Then we're going to go to the line tool, which is this little pencil. We're going to find the middle. So you can see if I hover my pencil over the end here, it says end point, and it automatically kind of clicks to the middle, which is really useful. So what you can also do, you can see this green line here and then this red line, that is instantly going to the middle. So that's really useful. I'm just going to draw a little line across here, and it will keep going, so you can just press escape to get rid of your line. Now the stool has a little circle in the middle, so what we need to do is go up here. You can see this little drop down menu and click circle. So from the middle of where you just drew that line, we're going to drag across, and again see how it goes. Oh, too big. Millimeters there. We're going to do exactly what we did for the rectangle and type in how big we want it. So the diameter of the circle is 45 mil, but this measures by radius. So half of 45 mil is 22.5 millimeters. So we type 22.5. Click enter. There we go. Now we obviously don't want these lines here, so we can just click on that line. See, I'm not clicking the face, clicking the line. We delete that. We delete that. Then we want to make the little feet. So I know that the bottom of the stool goes across 50 millimeters. So I'm going to type in 50 millimeters, and then I can see there, you can see this little green dot will come up. So I know that that's the end point of the line that I just drew. I'm going to click that, and I'm going to join that to the middle of the circle that I just drew. And I'm going to do that again on the other side. So 50 millimeters, sometimes it will snap to it, which is quite useful. So I'm going to click there, and then I'm going to click up to the end point there. So that's the middle of my circle. Now what I can do is I can delete this face, and I can delete this line, and I can also delete that, and I can delete that. So it's starting to come together. Now, if you look at the end of your stool, you can see that there's two little brackets which sit in slightly. So that is, we get our line tool again, we go across, and we go 19 mil. And then we go down, so you can see it's going on the green face, which is the right way. If it's on the blue one, we're going, or the red one, we're going that way. And if it's on the blue one, that means it's going straight down. So we want to make sure it's on the green. And then we type in 42 millimeters, and then we go across there, and we do the same on this side. So we're going to go down 42, and you can see it snaps to that. And we go across. Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. That's okay. We can go across 19, and then we go up 42 again. So then what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of this. You can also select by clicking and dragging, and see, so that selects this line, and that face, and delete it all in one go. And again on this side. Oh, there we go. Now we also need to change the sides of these, because these are going to be sloping sides. So you want to go back to your line tool again, find the middle of that line you just drew, so the middle of the 19 millimeters, click there, and then click down to this bottom corner. Okay, and again we just want to delete that little face and that face as well. There we go. one of our legs is done. But as you can see, it is flat and we need to make it 3D. So we go back to push pull tool, click the face and rise it up 19 millimeters. So again, we want to make this a group. See, so if I go like that, it doesn't select that or that or that, which is a little bit annoying. So I think the best way to do it is to click 3 times, and that makes sure that everything that it is touching will be selected. And then we right click again and make group. So now we've got one leg, but we need 2 legs. Now we know it's going to be exactly the same. So what we can do, luckily, is if you click up on this little tool here, move, and you can go and click onto a corner. The corner is probably easiest. And you hold down Alt. You can see a little plus has come up next to that. See, click Alt and the little plus comes up. Drag that and then we have duplicated it. So it's pretty good, and that will still be a group as well. To get out of the move tool, you can just press escape, and then I always like to go back to cursor so I know I'm not accidentally flinging things around the screen. Now we've got our 2 legs, but they are the wrong way around. So I'm just going to click on this orbit tool here, spin around, we can see what we've done. Zoom out a little bit. Now I want them to flip up 90 degrees so that I know that there will actually be legs. And I'm going to select this group here, and I'm going to hold down Shift and also select the second leg. I'm going to go into Rotate tool, so it looks a little bit like a compass. And you can see if I do it this way, I'm going to flip it this way. That's not what I want. I want to flip it up. So we want to do it on this. Oh, nope. This axis here. So I'm going to click and drag so I can see that I'm on the green axis. And then I'm just going to flip. Now again, you can guess, but it's always better to be accurate. So I'm just going to type in 90 degrees, enter. There we go. We've got our 2 pieces upright. So we're in the right direction. Back to cursor and click out of those so we don't edit those anymore. Now we also need these 2 little brackets. So we're going to make those again. We're going to go through the same process. I'm going to go quite quickly. We're going to go back to our rectangle tool. We're going to make the brackets, which are 42 millimeters by 300 millimeters. So we type 42, 300. Hit enter. There we go. This again, we push pull up 19 millimeters. And again, we want to make these groups, so we select it all by triple clicking, make group. Now this bit here is going to sit into this little bracket here. So we need to make sure that this is flipped up again. So we're going to go to the rotate tool. We want to rotate it this way. We click over here. And see, if I'm just going to guess, that kind of looks straight to me, but you can see down here what angle it's going to be at. So we need to make sure that it is at 90 degrees. So I always just type in 90 and hit enter. And we need 2 of these. So we are going to click the move button again. We're going to click on a little end point, hold down Alt. We've got 2. Okay, so now that we have all of our bits made, we're going to put it all together. So what I'm going to do first is get these little brackets attached to these little legs here. So we're going to go to our move tool, or again you can just hit M on your keyboard. We're going to put this one will sit right in here. So you want this corner sitting right in here. So you can click on the end point, drag it across, and it will just, you can see that they generally snap to other endpoints. So we snap it onto there, zoom out again, and we want to join this one over here. So it's going to be this corner meeting this corner. So you click onto there, click again, and we're done, which is pretty good. Now obviously we want to move this other leg to join onto these little bits here, and that is going to be just exactly the opposite to what we did. So we're going to drag this to snap into there. So we're going to go onto our move tool again. We're going to make sure that we've got the right bit. I suppose we could do this top corner as well. Drag that over here, and that will we'll put it there for now so it's a little bit closer, and then we will drag that corner to meet that. So you can use them to sort of snap till it gets closer so it's easy to maneuver. There we go, we've got our little shell done. Now we need to put the top on, of course. So we click the top, and what I think is going to be easiest, if we hit move again, I'm just hitting M on my keyboard, we click this corner and we're going to line it up with this corner. Now as you can see, if you orbit around, hangs off a bit on one side and not on the other, and again on this side, and that's not what we want. So we're going to just move it again, and we want it to be as accurate as possible. So we're going to take our tape measure here, and we're going to click onto here and then here. So this will give you a dimension of exactly how far over it is. It works this way as well, so you can, that's 19 mils, that's right, that's 19 mils, that's right. But this is the dimension we're interested in, so it's 30 mils hanging over that way. So what we need to do is position it so it's easy to move along the correct axis. So we can see the red axis here, so we need to move it along the red. So we hit move, click on that, and then we move it so we can see that red dotted line, and you just type in the dimension. So it was overhanging 30, and we need it to be even on both sides, so we just half 30, which is 15. Good. Then, but if you look, still hanging over heaps that side, which is not really what we want. So we just take, again, our handy little tape measure tool, and we can go from here over to here, which is 40 mils hanging over. You can also see here that that's exactly 15 mils. That's what we just did. But what we're interested in now is this length here. And you can see it's clicking to the green axis, which is what we want, and right to the edge, so 40 mils. So again, all we're going to do is exactly the same thing, just the other way. We are going to move this top with our move tool. Half of 40 is 20, so we're just going to, oh, not that way, not that way, not that way, on the green axis. So it can get a little bit confused sometimes. But we don't want to move up, we don't want to move side to side, we just want to move on the green. And we want to be 20 mils. So we type 20, hit enter, and if you go to orbit, especially if you look underneath, you can see it is even on the top and the bottom, and even on that side as well. So we have our little stool. Now, what I always like to do is to sort of finish it off and make it look good in the little modeling program, is to add a little bit of texture. So we're going to go up to the paint bucket. You can see I'm already on the little timber thing, but you can choose all your colors from here, or you can go over to your textures. If in the drop down menu there's all different textures that you can use. Tiling, you can use water. So therefore, if you're doing really big models and putting pools in and stuff, but we're going to use the wood one. I'm just going to use this one, but you can have a play around and see what you like. And we just click. There we go. Get rid of that. And we're good.